Hey guys, back at it again. USA Smells here with another video. This time another deck tutorial on an updated puppet list. The deck has gone through at least a little bit of changes since the last time you would have seen it on the channel. Few specific techs have wandered their way in, and I've been really surprised with the card quality. We'll go through it. Won't nearly be as in-depth as the last time we went through puppets because we've already gone over some stuff. Let's take a look. So to start off, pretty easy and concise. 3 junk, creates 2 puppets. Don't really need to explain too much after that. It's still high quality. The meta has gotten a little bit more aggressive. You don't nearly feel as good as playing junk on one as you did in this format. Unfortunately, doing it almost makes you feel a little bit behind because it doesn't allow you to trade well into anything that your opponent produces. Currently, I'm only playing 2 Sakuna, Brave and Small. It's more of a deck size thing, just because I don't really have the space for it. I found that even though that it was a good card and it does come up, it's not nearly as powerful as it used to be. I don't always want to see it, but the turns that it comes up with Anastasia are obviously really strong, even if you take a look at the Evo. If you're able to do the combo 5 with her and get the big damage turn off, sure, you hit them in the face for 6, that's great. But doing it on turn 1 is not fantastic. Oftentimes they get rid of it without even thinking of it. Sometimes you'll still do it because it's your only play to do going second, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. Up next, Goddess by the Sunlit Sea. With how the deck is right now, I'm playing Anastasia at a reduced ratio. Michelle isn't in the deck, so seeing those higher costed cards isn't as guaranteed as it was, so that's not always going to be your win condition. But honestly, just the fact that you're able to cycle in your early turns, just drawing a card, I find really powerful. I've seen lists from Japan that weren't running it, or running it at 2, but I was even running, and I'll put it up on the screen, a card that came out, I think, this set that is very similar to this, and if you have 5 different spells in your graveyard, it gains you 2 life, but I was literally just running it for an extra card to draw. I was kind of in a little bit of a cope mood. Nature's Guidance is still as strong as it was, finding it less common to use it in big lethal turns, but it combos incredibly well. The next card, still just an incredible forest card. Being able to remove something off your side of the field is often the difference maker in games. Being able to reuse cards is also incredible. And this card, honestly, is probably one of my favorite things about this deck right now. Wood of Brambles almost always makes you smile when you see it in your hand because it is a 1 mana card that probably just shouldn't be like this. I'm running it at 3. Originally I started it at 0, then 1, 2, and now I just feel like it's just that crazy because it's a cheap card. So in your early games, if you just draw Nature's Guidance and you have nothing else to do on your turn 2 plays, you can play Wood of Brambles, spawn the token, and bounce it back to your hand, draw a card. It's useful in the later game. That token will come up specifically in the Wood of Brambles situation. Read through its effect, obviously. So you spawn a token, combo 3, give it rush, and at the start of your main phase, you destroy it. So that's mainly why we're trying to recycle it like that, bouncing it to your hand. And while this card's on your field, your followers have Follower Strike, deal 2 damage to the enemy follower. That's awesome. They're not always going to have a tapped follower for you to swing into, but we're just going to rock with it anyways. When you get to use this when that situation pops up, you can clear everything on their side of the field. If they have a chunky dude that's 4 health or something, newsflash, that's a board clear for 1. And the fact that it kills itself at the start of your turn is huge. Puppet really wants their board space. I was originally playing Archer at a much higher ratio. Currently, I'm only playing 1 of them. I cannot believe when I look back at BP3 and I saw that this card existed that I had never heard of it before. I highly suggest this. You might have to go digging through some bulk, but it's totally worth it. Just the 1 Archer. Pretty straightforward. I'm not running the Evo for it. It combos well with Orcus, as we had previously covered. Does not remove itself from the field, and I'm finding that to be the biggest issue. It's a 1/4. It does nothing. If you're trying to pressure your opponent and this thing's stuck on the field, that's not helping you. Having to spend the Nature's Guidance to bounce this of all things isn't good because it doesn't produce anything. At least when it comes to the Wood of Brambles, if you're doing a combo turn, it itself can clear something totally. Archer by itself does essentially nothing, and it costs 2 as well, so It's still good, but it's not broken. It can feel like that to your opponent, but not to you. Flower Doll, again, is a comfort pick. Up to you to run this card, but I think the Grave Recycling is very valuable to a player who knows what he's doing. Oftentimes, you won't be, since you're not running Michelle, grabbing things from your deck directly, or usually it'll be off the top of your deck if you get lucky like that. But being able to recycle stuff that you've already used is a huge resource for yourself. Being able to grab back an Orcus in order to keep using it is incredible. We'll just cover the Evo as well. Yeah, this is the main reason you play this card. Grave Recycling is not a joke. Liam, cannot appreciate this card as much as I need to. It's a 2/2. The stats are still, these days, it is a little bit lacking in the base stats. And the puppet generation is still, you need it. Playing this on 2, you will still feel kind of behind, really. There's no tempo generated with this, and it doesn't trade necessarily well, but it's good, right? You need it for the deck. You'll definitely find these days that you're actually getting a chance to use the look at the top 3 effect. You run 2 Flower Doll because it's another space or in the deck problem. I think the main reason I was doing that was to find room for the extra brambles, along with cutting down the Sakuna. And later, when we cover Ivy Spellbomb, that was another thing. So I added those 2 cards, one Wood of Brambles and an Ivy Spellbomb, by cutting down 2 cards that you could usually assume to be at 3, but I haven't had that issue. I'm so far pretty happy with what I've chosen. Paula, again, a major asset to the deck as it currently is. The flashy 20 damage combo that I had originally shown off is turning out to be pretty rare. All of the rest of the uses that this card has is incredible. Being able to recycle Lloyd tokens I found pretty common. Sometimes you're able to gain up to 10 life in one turn, which is huge. That means you've recycled 2 puppets twice and summoned a third one, which can happen. Or you can, in a bad situation, you can recycle your Victoria tokens and just draw 2 to 4 cards, and then you're set up for the late game. Or sometimes you're just grabbing your spells, and obviously Wood of Brambles is an amulet, so you can't grab it off of this. Again, we'll go over the Evo as well. So this one's going to grab you a forest spell, which, or the broken effect where you're putting things back in the EX, allowing you to play them again. And a very strong strike effect that uses combo to deal 3 to something. Notably not follower strike. It combos incredibly well with the Wood of Brambles, where you're able to kill something upwards of, that's either 5 damage on one thing, or split up. So still as strong as it was. A substitution. I'm still not very happy with this card. Putting it back in their hand does basically do nothing because of how long the game goes on. Obviously, if I was able to end the game at turn 5, it wouldn't matter. I'm able to capitalize on that tempo generation and probably make them pretty frustrated. But if the turns are going to turn 7 or later, they're probably going to make up the tempo difference. I myself, playing puppets, and probably you as well, on turn 3 or 4, you're going to have to sacrifice something to just make your late game tokens, your 0 costs. And on that turn, whatever you just bounced is probably back on the field, and they're pretending like nothing happened. But that's why I'm playing it at 2. It's still a removal spell, but it's not a hard removal. If you have a lot of dirt players, this is probably very strong, but this thing, in my opinion, does absolutely nothing to bats outside of you can bounce the big Vania, the 6/6 that's hitting you in the face, but if you're doing this to the one that buffs itself based off the amount of bats they have, you didn't do anything, man. I'm sorry. It does create a puppet, and that does come up. Onto the 3 Orcus. This ratio obviously isn't changing. A ratio that I did change, and I didn't think I'd ever need to, is I am now running 3 of the Evos. As I was describing earlier, the games are going late. The life gain is there, and because of that, you just apparently need the third one. And you're mostly going to be, you'll be able to get the first effect off to create the 2 puppets and create the Lloyds for your endgame. But odds are you're probably going to need 2 of these to end the game, unless Noah pops up. And if you don't have that, you're struggling. 3 Zwei. Victoria token is premium for this deck. Obviously, still running the singular Evo for it, but the little bit of card draw that you get is really... The only bad part about it is in order to get that card draw, you have to give up your Victoria token. That's not going to survive till next turn. It's only got 1 health. But it is nice. Heartless Battle is a 3 of. You cannot change this. This is just as good as it is. And Paula grabs it which you're going to be pretty happy about. It's still cloggy, but that's just the nature of the deck. You can't get away from that. Ivy Spellbomb, one of the guys from TS Toronto was running this in his list. I think I had mentioned that before, but if not, this was always in my mind. And there are certain decks, a lot of decks actually I've found, that have something that has 5 health. And with that, this is your only hard removal card in the entire deck. 3 is pretty expensive, but when you can grab this or see this in those matchups, it's incredible. You can find that against Wardhaven, Draconic Duelist, I've found. Yeah, and the little bit of burn actually comes up a lot. So I love this card. I don't think you can run 3 of it, but I'm certainly happy running 1 of it. Only running 2 Anastasias. Honestly, if I had more space in this list, I'd probably try and fit the 3rd. I've been thinking about running Spinaria for a while for the extra card advantage in the late game. And if I end up hating Archer enough, maybe that's what I do. But it's because you can't search it. Because I'm not running Michelle, that's the main indicator of me being able to run more copies of stuff, and it sounds weird. I think to myself as I say that sounds a little bit weird. I guess the point that I'm trying to make out is the benefit of running in the previous format 3 Anastasia, 2 Noah, and 1 Spinaria is with the searchability that you had in the deck, like the consistency with Michelle. You're able to pick what you want for the late game. You're able to mold your hand in order to fit it. Currently, you don't really have that option. And with that, you have the card that you want to see at the higher ratio, which is a Puppetry card. So you can grab it off the top of Liam. Or in this case, with Anastasia, this doesn't have any of the keywords that you want on the bottom, right? The board buff will piss your opponent off, but you're not focusing on it. It's still good, but like there are times where you're playing this and you won't get the 5th card because that's just not how the deck's built right now. It's so focused on creating those Victoria tokens that like just kind of changes what you're looking for. We have the 3 Noahs. This is the center point of the deck. This is why it's able to compete still. Being able to put the 2 tokens, obviously, like that's not the reason you're running this. It's for the store. And if you're able to do that big combo turn, chances are they're dead. What's more realistically going to happen is you're going to have the small puppet burst turns. So you're pushing up the EX tokens that you have. If you happen to have the Victoria or the Lloyd tokens to work with it, that's probably pretty good for you. Most of the time you're just chipping away at them, being able to recycle them or use a later one for a more powerful turn. Running 1 of the Evo, honestly, these days, because of how long the games are going, I would want another Evo, maybe. But the problem is, I don't have any space. If you look at the current cards that I've listed off in the deck, the 3 Orcus I've already justified to you. Paula's, I've almost felt like I want a 3rd one more than this other Noah Evo that I'm talking about. The 1 Flower Doll, if I cut Flower Doll, maybe, there's some space there, but currently that's what I want. Sukuna without a 2nd Evo is useless, so you need it. These Vi, there was a world in previous format where like people weren't running it, but I like it way too much, and definitely not cutting the Noah Evo, so you're just kind of stuck with it. And you don't need the 2nd Noah Evo still in order to win the game. I think the solution that I've found in order to make this compete is the 3rd Orcus Evo, I believe, is enough to keep it safely in its spot in the meta. But as I have found, it is not nearly as strong as I had initially thought of. This format definitely put puppets in a humble position. It's a fair deck. Is a salty thing to talk about when it comes from the previous format because it was as busted as it was. But this deck can definitely lose pretty comfortably to other decks right now because sometimes you just don't have the answers for it. Please let me know if you've had any success yourself playing puppets this format. Feel free to leave a comment. But I still love this deck. And currently, Wood of Brambles is making me smile every time I'm seeing it. And it makes the deck feel really new and inventive. So with that, I'm signing off. And please keep an eye out for the deck demo of Puppets. I have a feeling it really shows off what the deck can do. And see you next time. So thank you very much.